Welcome to the Game Winner Podcast. I'm your host, Boris Hope. I'm here with Fasi Tunga Fasi and ZK Zach Carrer. Big episode. Obviously, this is our first video episode, so if you're listening to this on the podcast, check out the show notes. I'll post the YouTube link so you can see us in person, see our beautiful faces while we talk about everything sports. Big week this week. We had the Field of Dreams game, MLB, which was super exciting. We had Hard Knocks, the Cowboys, big focus, episode 1. You know, it really feels like football season's coming along. Preseason football, all the rookies kind of had their big debuts. We'll go over that. And, of course, we're going over the Afc West. Big division, especially with Zach being such a big Chargers fan. So we'll finish that off with a trivia section where I'll test both Zach and Fasi and have them going against each other and kind of see what happens. But first, let's start with the Field of Dream games. Last Thursday, it was the first regular season game ever in Iowa. Awesome game. It was based on the 1989 Kevin Costner film, Field of Dreams. Played it in the cornfield, Iowa, and it was just an awesome experience, especially the way it ended with a walk-off home run by Tim Anderson to win the game 9-8 for the White Sox over the New York Yankees. Fasi, how you feeling about the Field of Dreams game?
Yeah, man, the Field of Dreams game was actually pretty great. Great game, great atmosphere before, during, after the game. Boris, you said it. Walk-off home run from Tim Anderson, uh, to win it for the White Sox. They're the best team in the on that side of baseball. And for the Yankees, they were down most of the game, down 4-7 going into the ninth. And they came back and they actually started to hit home runs after home run on one of the best closers in the game. And, you really felt like that was the only way the Field of Dreams game would go. It was in walk-off home run style. I mean, a lot of drama in that ninth inning, but the White Sox pulled it off. The movie, Field of Dreams, great movie. And again, before, during, after the game was great. First game in Iowa, they deserve it there. So yeah, hats off to all the players. It was a great game.
Before you jump in, Zach, I just want to ask Fasi, you mentioned in our group chat that you were going to watch Field of Dreams for the first time. You just said it's a great film. Did you actually watch Field of Dreams today?
So yeah, I actually did watch it. It was pretty good. I like to consider myself a huge baseball fan, and to be honest, I never really even knew that movie existed.
Okay.
I guess that's just me being from Bay Area, just kind of a homegrown San Francisco Giants West Coast guy.
I
But
don't
yeah,
think
that
that
was
has
actually
anything
a
to do
really
with
good
it, but
movie.
all right.
But
If you
that's,
build it,
I
they will
mean,
come.
I had
I
it.
never knew that movie
I had it on
existed.
VHS as a kid, and I know I watched it, but I do not remember it at all. I just remember the line you just mentioned, but I do want to rewatch it, so I'll probably pop it in, press the DVR maybe this weekend. What about you, Zach? You quoted it. You've seen it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest quote in like any sports movie ever. I think for the game itself, it's gonna be very good to see like down the road. Every year, a couple teams will probably do that more often rather than the Yankees and Sox. But overall, the game was very good. Um, it's just a good game. You can't really knock it. I mean, it's cool having all the cornfields and seeing them playing it. It's almost feeling like a high school game in a sense, like that feeling, like that Friday night lights. If it's baseball, it's probably Tuesday night lights. Um, but I mean, it's overall, I think it's good for the game to kind of make it more appealing because the game's kind of getting harder to get fans like attraction. So this is a good way for those little leaguers, even the older generation, to get back into it, showing the relevancy of the movie. So it's good. I mean, if they build it, they will come.
Absolutely. I thought it was cool that they did that. I think baseball's finally getting with the times and doing something a little different that could be super popular. I feel like they've already mentioned this is one of the most popular games in years. It's the first regular season baseball game in Iowa ever. So that's kind of cool. I thought the marketing was cool. They had all the players coming out of the cornfield, Kevin Costner doing the opening like ceremony and intro into the game. And there were 8 bombs hit into the cornfield, which is, the more bombs in the cornfield, the better. So I thought it was awesome. I think it was a really cool thing. It reminded me of the NHL like outdoor experiences that they're doing these days, like the couple outdoor games they have a year. This is baseball's version of that, going back to a classic movie. And Rob Manfred, the MLB commissioner, has already mentioned they're going to bring this back next year. So I think this is going to be a popular event, and I would love to see baseball do more of these. Maybe I don't know, like a Mr. 3000 game with Bernie Mac style game. That'd be fun. Or a major leagues game with the Indians, or not the Indians, but the new Cleveland Guardians team. So doing stuff like that, making more references
Bears
to old games. Well, you got Bad News Bears. I don't know who the
That's
the
another
team would
baseball
be.
movie I could think of.
Just all of them. You got
No,
Rookie of the Year. Classic. Everybody gets an arm surgery after they fall over a baseball. We got a bunch of options. I think we're in a good spot.
Always Tommy Johns.
And, of course, one more. Angels in the outfield. Give me Ohtani flapping his wings out there. I'd love to see it. So, awesome thing by baseball. Love to see a little bit more oomph in baseball. Next on the list, we have Hard Knocks, baby. Football season is back. Hard Knocks is going. I thought it was a great first episode. They're focusing on the Dallas Cowboys, of course, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott. Just looking at these guys from a different perspective, and it was fun to really feel like you're in training camp. So, Zach, how are you feeling about Hard Knocks? Did you get a chance to give it a watch?
Yeah, I got a chance to play it over the weekend. Over the weekend, or during the week, my bad. I think it was very good. I'm kind of seeing inside training camp again, especially with what happened last year, the Dak, kind of seeing like what's happening next, what's happening inside the building with him, how they're treating him, and seeing the dynamic shifting, hopefully, like offensively. So, getting the run game more established, receiving core involved, and then seeing that relationship between Mike McCarthy and Dak, seeing how that develops. I know he was getting frustrated in the first episode about reps and everything like that. And also like that chemistry, as you can see, best friends forever with him and Zeke. So I think it's very good. And I think the rest of the season of Hard Knocks is going to be very good.
Man, Hard Knocks is back. This is probably one of my favorite things preseason of the NFL season. You get to see Dak and Deke, see what their personalities are like. Hard Knocks always does a good job of that. But I feel like this year, mostly they're focusing on kind of their bigger stars, which is nice to see. Zach mentioned it. Deke is frustrated, or not Deke, Dak
Deke.
is frustrated.
He's adding players together over here. He's got Deke and Zeke.
Is that your
Dak
relationship?
and Zeke. He's got
They're
Deke
together
right
now.
there. He's putting them together.
They're
They're one
together now.
person,
Oh,
everybody.
Deke.
They are one person.
It's the relationship. It's that relationship life right there.
Dak was getting frustrated, man. It was tough to watch at points because they had him on a restriction. They only let him play for like a few snaps in the beginning, and then he'd have to sit out the rest of the practice and watch. But yeah, it was just good to see them and the relationship that he's building with his head coach, Mike McCarthy. It was good to see a little bit of Jerry Jones. Everybody loves Jerry Jones, so it was good to see a little bit of him. And seeing how Mike
Not the
McCarthy
biggest
handles his team.
I don't know if everybody.
Jerry.
I don't
Come
know
on.
if everybody loves Jerry Jones. Let's get that out
Everybody
there.
loves
I don't know if
Jerry.
everybody loves Jerry. He's not Raymond.
And
Trust me.
again, shout out to Mike McCarthy.
Jerry, I
He's
like the
bringing in
Seinfeld.
mojo moment, making it fun for his players. So that was great to see. And one highlight of the episode was Micah Parsons, man. He was balling in the preseason game. They showed him. He was doing his thing, and he wanted to play some more. And if it were up to me, he would have played the whole game, get his feet wet. He's probably not going to get hurt, but Dan Quinn did the right thing as a defensive coordinator. Hopefully he turns him around, but he took him out. But good to see Micah Parsons out there getting a fumble recovery and making plays.
Yeah, this was a good episode of Hard Knocks. You kind of mentioned that they were focusing a lot on like the top players, which I thought was good. Well, I'm waiting for that time where they focus on that, borderline third string guy that you got all your heart into, and then he gets cut or he barely makes the team, or they didn't really focus on that like they usually do. I also thought it was funny. So they're in Oxnard, California, even though they're the Dallas Cowboys. I feel like Jerry Jones takes this opportunity to create kind of like a vacation. Is California vacation every year is training camp. And it was funny that this apartment complex just looks like a normal Southern California apartment complex. Like it looks like a normal spot and not like super glam. They're all it's almost like a dorm experience outside,
Looked like your old
everybody out in
apartment.
this new area. Yeah, it feels like a place that I've lived in 2 or 3 times in my life at least. So I thought that
I
was
think
cool.
I've been there.
Exactly. And you know what else I liked? I like Zeke trying to wrap a present. Like he's never wrapped a present in his entire life.
That was hilarious. That was
Given
hilarious.
That's like
Given-
Fosse wrapping presents during Secret Santa.
Oh, it was hard to watch a little bit. I was like, man, your proportion of tape to wrapping paper is awful. Plus, you went too small. You saw him add those two
Yeah.
couple pieces on the edge to kind of fill it out. I looked it up. That bag is worth $13,000, by the way. Just did a little research. Fosse,
Sheesh.
if this podcast and show go well, you might have one in the mail. So we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? You and Zach both might have one coming
waiting.
very soon.
I'll be waiting.
We'd have to do a lot
Oh,
better than
damn.
we're doing
Producer
right
got
now.
Money.
Also loved
Man,
Micah Parsons, as you mentioned on the phone. He looked like a beast. Obviously, you have to take him out. I also like seeing the competitive nature of Dak Prescott. You know, he wants to be out there, obviously. But you notice when he was fighting for playing time, they actually cut to him, and then he got hurt after that for throwing too much. So they need you got to monitor the guy. Like, he obviously wants to play. Every player wants to play. But with all his injuries, you got second MRI coming. It's good to see that, like, we've kind of gotten lucky with Hard Knocks getting the top real, like, story of the offseason. I remember a few years back you had Antonio Brown on the Raiders, and that was, like, the biggest offseason story, and they happened to be following him on Hard Knocks. Now, Dak Prescott is the biggest offseason story right now. Once Aaron Rodgers showed up to camp, it's all Dak Prescott. So seeing this story play out on Hard Knocks, because nobody knows how healthy Dak is right now. It's all hearsay. It's interesting, and it kind of worked out well that we get to see that info. So great episode. I can't wait. Next week we'll do another recap. Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Zach.
I think like with it too is that oh my bad. So I think with it like last year, right? Everyone I think was rooting for Dak. I know I was with his contract year, right? He was getting franchise tagged, frustrated with it. And he was kind of just like, I'm gonna prove it to you that I deserve the money. And then he gets injured, and you're like, dang, like we feel for you because we're invested in you. You're trying to show them, hey, like I deserve to get paid. I'm just as good as everybody else. And then he comes back, he signs that big deal in the offseason, and then you see him overthrowing, hurting his shoulder. You're like, come on, dog. Like we want to see him get better, and that's why I think this Hard Knocks will be good because you can see that development as well as the real time goes by too. So I think a lot of us, I'm pretty sure you are too, Boris and Voss, like rooting for him to do well and excel in his offense and with the organization, kind of prove his worth. And you can sell on his face that he wants to, like, hey, like I'm gonna show you I'm worth it. And he's very competitive edge. He's not in it for the money, but it's all about he wants to play.
Yeah, I want to see him do well, to be honest. You guys just see him how he is. He's a leader. He's a football player. He plays his heart out. I mean, you want him to do good. Hopefully he does come back healthy, has a good season, is worth every penny that he signed for that big contract. But yeah, this Hard Knocks and team that Hard Knocks is covering is great for us as football fans. I mean, it's going to be good to see where Dak goes. It's going to see his relationship with his head coach, Mike McCarthy, and his bestie, Zeke. So, yeah, hoping he does well. And I'm going to be tuning in all year for this Hard Knocks season.
I agree. Well, I want to go back to one more thing you mentioned, Fosse, the mojo moment. Let's go over this. First off, the cheesiest thing I've seen in a long time. Come on, Mike McCarthy. You are so corny. You are so
hey, look, he's trying.
corny.
He's trying.
Oh, my God. And the thing
He's
about it
trying
is,
to
like,
be relevant.
everybody on this call, we're all 29 years old, right? We're about 29, 30 years old. The
all 29,
players,
30.
that movie is old. Like, if you're a rookie going in, you might not have ever even seen Austin Powers. And he's bringing this old cheesy clip with no context about mojo moment. And then his first two rules are a mojo moment can show up anytime. And then the second one's like, always have your mojo. So like, what's the point of rule 1 if you always have it? So I thought that was super cheesy. I was like, man, there's no reason why Aaron Rodgers was sick with this guy. I'm not a big Mike McCarthy guy. I generally don't root for the Cowboys, but I do like Dak a lot. I really do like Dak, and it makes it hard to root against him. Zeke, he's had his issues, but he's kind of a fun personality, especially in Hard Knocks. You really see he's almost like a grown kid in a sense. It was kind of fun to see.
Oh,
that.
big ass kid, dude.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah,
he's stealing people's bikes.
Stealing bikes.
Yeah, he stole Dak's bicycle right outside the facility, which, I mean, that's just fun, jarring with his quarterback.
That's just fun, but
yeah. Overall, great first episode. I'm waiting. I just can't wait to see who that borderline player is, because they do that every year. They do it every year, so we will see that. All right. Next on the list, we have preseason football. We had the Hall of Fame game last year. That was kind of just a dipping our toes in the water. Now we got some real preseason football. Rookies all across the land, especially quarterbacks. There were a lot of quarterbacks that had their debut, high ranking. And you know what? I am going to actually throw in Jordan Love into this rank just because he didn't get any play time. There was no preseason he never played. You never saw Jordan Love play in a Green Bay Packers jersey. So I'm going to throw him in here with the rookies. Which rookie / Jordan Love did you feel super impressed by? Fasi, let's just go to your boy, Trey Lance, Trey area. You might as well, because you're not going to be biased on this. Let's hear what you thought.
You know what? I wasn't even going to bring him up.
Yeah. Hold up. Well, you weren't going to bring him up. You weren't going to bring him up. Come on. Okay. All right. I mean, I'll pull your arm. Why don't we?
You're buying at the bit, bro.
Come
buying
on.
at the bit to say something.
Not gonna say anything.
Wait till it's my turn. Talk about the 80 yards.
Looked great. Preseason football is in full swing. It was great to see all the teams showcasing basically their bench. I mean, some of these guys aren't going to see a lot of playing time. I know a lot of these players, which makes it intriguing at the most, is that most of these rookies that are coming in, especially the quarterbacks, are fighting for a starting position. You got Trey Lance. You don't know if he's going to start week 1. It's good to see him playing. Justin Fields. I mean, Matt Nagy said he wasn't going to start, but I mean, Andy Dalton went out there, and then Justin Fields, and he looked really good. And then Trevor Lawrence, he's probably, or the head coach over there at the Jaguars, former Ohio State coach, he said he wasn't even sure if Trevor Lawrence wasn't going to start, which we probably all know is a bunch of pig poop. But, it's just good to see all these young prospects out there getting their feet wet, throwing the ball in real time, getting these reps in, because you don't know what's going to happen in the regular season, week 1. Boris, you said it. Trey Lance played. He looked phenomenal. I'll leave it at that. Justin Fields. That is so hard. All right, we'll move on. Justin Fields looked good. His first drive, you could tell that he was nervous, but second drive he came in, he started getting a feel for the game, started being more comfortable in the pocket, being more comfortable on the run, making plays happen for the Chicago Bears. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with him and Andy Dalton and Nick Foles in the mix. That's going to be interesting. Everybody's going to be following them. Trevor Lawrence is going to be doing his thing. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Tua, he played. Jordan Love. I mean,
Mac Jones. Yeah, you had a Mac Jones sighting and a Zach Wilson sighting. Trevor Lawrence. You're missing a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys out there. But, we've had enough of Trey. Zach, how you feeling? what did you see over this week 1 preseason? Was there anybody that stood out?
Jeez. I was watching the Jags ones. I think it's hard to kind of really say who does really well because you're not starting your full offensive line, right? I think the Jaguars didn't have the full line. Trey Lance didn't have his full line that should be there, like the number ones. So you couldn't see like maybe the full potential with a really good protection. Expected Lawrence to kind of struggle. He did fine though. I mean, he did well for what he was given. Trey Lance kind of the same thing. Justin Fields was very like surprising based on everything I was hearing. Yeah, that first the first series or so, he was kind of rough, but he kind of got in the swing of things, really motivating it. Uh, Biggest kind of two takeaways I think over the first week of preseason was Zach Wilson, seeing how well he kind of performed. Yeah, he only played what first like one series or two, but he was consistent, very smooth with it, making the right plays, kind of showing good leadership for someone so young. He was my biggest question mark coming out of the draft, besides Trey. Like, he had 1 year. I didn't know anything about him coming out. I thought he would have been the bust. He's like freaking pretty boy Zac Efron over here. But he did well, and I think he's going to do well in New York with Saleh. You see, like the reference. And then Mac Jones. Mac Jones is like undercover Brady, I think. Like, he's got the same mannerism leading the team. I think he'll be good.
Hey,
He's not going to be like Brady.
No.
Well,
All right, let's calm down with the Brady
talk.
talk after one preseason game with a couple checkdowns. I'm gonna
Let
get
me
into my rant on the rookies in a second. Zach,
Wait, let me finish it.
get his name out of your mouth, Zach. Don't you dare.
Mac Jones is like Brady. No, I think if you give him,
Oh no.
I mean, probably next year he will develop pretty, get into it. I think he's gonna be good with that offense. I'm just saying. So he was kind of shocking. I thought he would have been like a bust as well, but he showed to be pretty good. And that's all I really seen. That's all I kind of care about, and quarterback wise.
All right, let me get
And
into
Trey
my
Lance was
rant.
okay.
I think so.
Go ahead.
I'll go quick one by one. Justin Fields started off rough, real rough, and then he pulled it together once he got kind of
Straight
a little
facts.
more comfortable. His touchdown was a wide open play. Anybody could have made that throw. His run was impressive. Overall, it was a positive day, but I wasn't like over the moon about it. I thought it was a good day. Trey Lance was the opposite. I thought he started super hot. That 80-yard touchdown was great. But after that, he struggled. He had a couple plays that could have been picked off easily. But overall, good start, but he did struggle for sure. Zach Wilson was impressive. I watched his play. So if you go on YouTube and you just search like all these quarterbacks, you can watch just their plays on like the NFL YouTube site. So I watched Zach Wilson, just his plays. He actually looked pretty good. He didn't play as long as the other quarterbacks, so his stats aren't quite there. But I actually thought he looked pretty good. I agree with you, Zach. I think he had a lot of pop. He didn't like fuss around in the pocket. Trevor Lawrence, he took 2 sacks, so his offensive line was not helping him. But when he did get like a lot of time in the pocket, he threw a dart down the field for like 20, 30 yards, and he looked good. Mac Jones, I think Mac Jones looked okay. I didn't actually see anything that super impressed me. It was a lot of checkdowns and like short passes, so I thought he looked fine. But I also didn't read too much into it because he wasn't taking any shots downfield. So I didn't think he was that great. Jordan Love, I watched his plays too. He looked good. Honestly, I was fairly impressed overall, but I think he was good, not great. Overall, I think the biggest takeaway from all these quarterbacks is they all had some good, they all had some bad. I think all of them. Trey Lance started hot, ended cold. You had Fields started cold, ended hot. You had a little bit of everything, and then Zach Wilson wasn't out there long enough. Trevor Lawrence took a couple sacks. Everybody had their issues. Mac Jones really didn't go downfield. But at the end of the day, I think it was what I saw from this group of quarterbacks that maybe I haven't seen in the past is like nobody looked frantic in the pocket. A lot of them were throwing balls right when they were about to get hit. Nobody looked like lost. And I've seen rookie quarterbacks
Nobody was
lost.
running for their lives.
They were all
Yeah.
confident in the pocket to the point where I felt like, man, maybe all these guys are going to be pretty decent because you watch some of these young quarterbacks and they're like, man, they are like, running around trying to figure it out, all this and that. But these guys all had poise, all of them. And so I think that this could be a good draft class. I think last year's draft class was good. We'll talk about maybe Herbert in the next round, and Burrow I still think is a beast. But it feels like the quarterbacks are getting better in general. Just first round rookies are just getting better.
Like that. It's almost like that. What, it's 2003, right? When it's Phillip Rivers, Eli, Big Ben. I think there's a fourth, like that draft class where they all, had good careers, longevity, and really showed out. This could be like the same class coming up. But like
Yeah.
to kind of think about it, how much does it matter not having your ones out there for them,
Oh,
right? Like
it's
I mentioned,
oh
the Niners didn't put their number ones. Like Trent Williams wasn't out there, McGlinchey wasn't out there. Like if Trey had his ones, he could have been. You think he'd be doing way better? Same with Trevor Lawrence. Like
yeah.
I, to me, I thought it was kind of odd. Like this year, like they didn't. No one played their starters. Like no team like was really playing their starters. But they played
Bucks
them
played their
last
starters.
year, the year
A
before.
couple teams did, but
Yeah.
it was short lived,
Yeah.
like a drive.
Yeah, like it's one series, but
think-
like some were like, yeah, all together we're pulling them. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, hold on fast. Like for me, like when I watched that Rams Charger game, I was looking forward to see Derwin, looking forward to see Herbert, all these names and new coach and everything, but they're not there. Like, okay, now you can't really see how this team's gonna function. And that's how I see about these rookies too. Go ahead, Foss.
Yeah, I mean, these rookies look really good. Boris, you said it. They look like mature for what they're going into. All these guys are basically the future of their franchises, and they didn't. The stage wasn't too big for them. You felt like, I mean, across the board, Fields, Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, all of them looked poised under pressure. Mac Jones was, I mean, he didn't make too many throws down the field, but all of them looked like the stage wasn't too big. Definitely excited for this draft class. I mean, all of them look great. Can't wait until they play with the ones and see what they can really do in real time.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting draft class overall.
Definitely.
I think Fields will get the job. If he doesn't get it as just like first week, he'll get it by like week 4. Trey Lance, same thing. I still think we talked about it last week. I still think that Garoppolo is going to get shipped somewhere, and then they're going to put Trey Lance in. But they didn't put in Garoppolo for very long, so I thought they were going to put him in a little longer to try to showcase him. They didn't, so maybe they are going to keep him around for a little bit. Next week will be the key because this is a different preseason. There's only 3 games. It used to be 4. Usually it was week 3 was the game where you would see the starters for like a half. So now I'm thinking week 2 might be that game where you see the starters for a significant amount of time. We'll see what happens. A lot of teams are just not playing starters. A lot of teams are. But next week, I think when we talk about this next week, we might have a completely different view on these guys, or at least we'll be able to see a lot more of them, which is good. We're talking about rookies. I'm not going to just leave without talking about Kyle Trask. Come on. He looked okay. Bucks quarterback, he looked okay. But their first-round pick.
So did Kellen Mond.
But their first-round pick, Joe Tryon, had a huge sack that got called for a penalty that shouldn't have been called. I'm tired of those roughing the passer calls on the quarterback when they're not really roughing the passer calls, but we can get into that another day. Overall, good first week of preseason. I think we got a lot out of it, and it's good to see these rookies thrive. And really all the situations, I think they all looked pretty good. So they can build off that for sure. Next on the list, we are going to the AFC West. Let's go. Zach, he has a lot of play in this division, just like Fasi did last week. We're going through a division with the Los Angeles, should be San Diego Chargers, and we'll get to them at the end. I like to keep those teams towards the end once we're going through our favorite teams. Let's start with the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. Drafted tackle Alex Leatherwood, controversial. That's, Raiders have been kind of known for controversial picks at this point. Defense, pretty much after that in terms of picks, they brought Yannick Ngakoue. They picked up a couple offensive guys in Kenyon Drake, John Brown, and Willie Snead. And they lost Nelson Aguilar to the New England Patriots. So a team that had actually more turnaround than you would think for a team that hasn't really been talked about too much. How are you guys feeling about I was about to say Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders? How are they going to do this year? Let's start with you, Fasi.
All right. First of all, Raiders. Raiders, I'm
The
sorry.
Raiders.
I'm
The
sorry.
Raiders.
Look, you guys moved to Las Vegas. You guys got that nice stadium. It's going to be great. But unfortunately, this year, you guys aren't going to do well. And that's not a knock against your players. Mostly it's a knock against your guys' head coach because, man, he's like 4 years into the 10-year contract that he did. And I basically just see him just drinking all the time and not doing much other than that. As far as the players go, Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota, they're going to be ones and twos at the quarterback room. Derek Carr is going to be as far as John Gruden takes him. Let's face it, he's an average quarterback. Marcus Mariota, I love him, but he's an average quarterback too. And they have an average coach. All those average guys are going to be as good as their coach is going to take them. Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs, two really good running backs. They're just going to be as good as their coach takes them. Henry Ruggs, look, this guy could be an NFL star on any other team, but because he's on the Raiders, he's just going to be as good as the Raiders take him. Darren Waller, he's going to be a great playmaker for them next year. He's going to score maybe double digits touchdowns next year, but again, that's all they got. They're only going to be as good as the coach takes them. Defense, they got pieces. Max Crosby. They picked up Solomon Thomas, former third overall pick that the San Francisco 49ers took, which was a big mistake. And Raider fans, I'm going to tell you right now, he's not that good. Gerald McCoy, a guy that should be retired. He's like in his 12th year coming from Philadelphia.
Whoa.
The Raiders are going to retire him. Let's face it. He's not going to be good over there. That's what they do. They just go over there, get a paycheck when they're at the end of their careers.
So what's
then
their
they
record, Foss?
retire.
Yeah, come on.
All right. I'll give them a 6-10.
The record.
They're going to win 6 games next year.
They got it. There's 17 games. You got to give. You're a little off on your math.
6-11.
6-11 or 7?
They're going off the last year.
6-11.
But if
Okay,
you want to
6
talk
and
how bad
11.
the Raiders are, I could go all night. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
They're going to be bad next year. There you go.
All right. Fossey
Hey, bro,
is
I got high
not
hopes for
confident
Raiders.
in the
Just
Raiders.
win, baby. Just win.
He is not confident, and Zach is
Nah, I
quoting
agree.
Zach is quoting a quote from like 30 years ago. So that can't be good. That's not a good sign.
That's what it is, bro. That's what it is. No, yeah, they're not gonna do well this year. I think. I think what Gruden is doing and Mike Mayock's doing is they're trying to help. They're really good analysts, but their team isn't making the moves they need to. Derek Carr is good, but I think defense is their struggle. I mean, when they made the playoffs a couple years ago, it was a shootout every game. The addition of Kenyon Drake's nice, but I think just coaching and Darren Waller is their only piece. That's why he had multiple 200-yard games. I've seen them winning a lot because they do play like a lot of teams in the NFC East. That gives them maybe 3 to 4 of those wins. But they do play the AFC North and the West as well. So I see them making that 6-11 mark. Bottom of the barrel team of the West. You hear it here first, like Fasi says, bottom of the barrel team. If they're lucky, they'll get 5 or 7, but 6-11 is a good note.
Jeez, I actually don't agree with you guys. I know I joke around a lot and maybe
What?
talk about. Yeah, I think they're better than you guys are saying. I don't think they're going to be like killing it, but I think you guys are way too harsh. I think Derek Carr is I think he's an above average quarterback. I think slightly above average is where I would put him. I think he's decent. I think they're adding pieces to that defense. Kenyon Drake's a good running back overall. Josh Jacobs is a great running back. A couple of weapons. I think Gerald McCoy, yeah, he should be retired. Former Buccaneer great. John Gruden, obviously, former Buccaneer great. These guys are a decent team. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're terrible. But 6-11 is terrible, and I don't think they're that. I have them at 9-8. I think slightly above average, but not great. And I don't have them at the bottom of this division. I have another team at the bottom, but we'll talk about that in a second. this is a decent team. I don't think it's awesome. I don't think it's terrible. Darren Waller is a monster. He is their best player overall. I think that we can we can get into that a little bit further, but I think that he is their best player, and I think overall the Raiders are just okay, and they're gonna be okay. 6-11 is too harsh. This team's not gonna be that bad. They're gonna be okay. And
They're gonna be trash.
okay, you guys think they're gonna be
Well,
trash?
let
You have
me-
them at 6-11, 5-12. I mean, we're talking about like
I
bottom
didn't
of the
say
barrel.
Trash.
9-8, 9-8,
I didn't-
slightly above average. That
No, that's-
that like
okay.
almost typical Dallas Cowboys, like decent. They're
Well,
they're
so I
better
would
than
say
the
they're
next team we're
garbage.
gonna talk
Like,
about.
I think
That's it.
I think they
I don't
would.
know.
They're gonna score a lot, but I don't think they're gonna win. Like I think they're gonna put enough points to where they can win. But I feel like a lot of the teams they're playing will make a good defensive play to swing it the other team's way, or an offensive like mistake, or just couldn't get that that first down to win it for them to seal the deal. That's what I'm saying. I think they're gonna be close to winning a lot more, closer to your 9-8. But I think it's just there's gonna be a few games that are not gonna go in their favor to get there. Is the only thing. I didn't say they're gonna be trash. Like they're not gonna put up numbers, but I think they're
6-11 is
just not
pretty
gonna
bad.
make that edge.
don't
I
know.
mean,
6-11 is
their
pretty
schedule's
bad.
pretty rough, dog.
Their schedule's
but
rough.
I'm not saying they're
but
gonna lose horribly.
you guys think they're the
I
worst?
don't think they're gonna lose horribly.
You guys are thinking they're the
in-
worst
in-
team in the division? The worst team?
And
Yeah.
not. I would say not like.
I don't know.
Okay, Vasi's a little rude. I'm
right,
saying I think they
let's
can
go.
beat your 9-8. I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna happen.
No, hey,
Because certain
before we
things
move
are
on,
gonna happen.
let me just say this real
All
quick.
right.
Let me just say this.
You know
real
what I mean?
quick. From week 1 to 4, they have Ravens, Steelers, Miami, and then the Chargers. I don't have them winning any of those games, and that's just one stretch of the season. You go on to a next.
I got them for
stretch,
Miami.
Week 10, they start off with the Chiefs, and then they go Bengals, Cowboys, Washington, and then back to the Chiefs. That's 5 games from week 10 to 14.
They can win that. They can win
Another
every
stretch.
game. They can win every game in that stretch except for those Chiefs games. Bengals, Dallas,
No, fair. I can see the
Washington.
The Bengals.
They
I
can
think
they can
beat
win all
Dallas.
those games. I don't know if they will, but they
No,
can definitely win those
Not
games.
Washington. They're not beating Washington.
Yeah.
Come on.
You don't think the Raiders can beat
I
Washington?
think
No, not at all.
They have a
I
shot.
think they'll lose to Washington based on what I said.
I don't know.
No,
I
I'm
think
saying,
they
like, it's
could
something,
lose to Washington, but I don't have the Washington as like a huge favorite in that game. I mean, I would pick Washington, but that is a slight margin. I think they could definitely pull that out.
I was saying it would be like Chase Young will do something to just they'll swing it. That's like what I'm saying. Like Washington has a playmaker that could do something. That's just like how
I just think you guys are underrating
I can see
them.
him being Dallas. I see him being the Bengals. They might beat them week 14 of the Chiefs. Valid,
I think
probably, but
I think this is
we'll
just
see
a
how it goes week 1.
middle of the pack team. I think they're okay. They can beat any team. They could lose to any team. Didn't they beat the Chiefs last year? I mean, this is a team that could win games. They're just not like a great team.
They did beat
They're
the Chiefs last.
yeah. So I mean, you got a team that could beat every team and could lose to every team. And the Bucks, as a Bucks fan, that's kind of what the Bucks were the last few years before they got Brady. You could see them beating literally any team, and they could lose to like the worst team in the league. And that's kind of where I have the Raiders. They're
and
just
that's what
like,
I'm saying.
okay. They're okay.
It was that's like where I have like they
Okay.
can do that, but just things are not going to swing their way.
I-
They'll take those
I
3
told you
more
guys
L's
already.
than
I can
what
talk
you
about
have.
how bad the Raiders are going to be all night. So.
All right.
I'll just leave it at that.
All
Yeah, 'cause
right,
you're
put your
biased. It's okay.
put your 49ers claws away. Put them away. Trey area. There's only one team in the Bay Area right now. Let's move on to the Denver Broncos. Big off season. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater to compete with Drew Lock. Lost Phillip Lindsay, which I think was a mistake, but they really shored up that secondary. They picked up Kyle Fuller, Ronald Darby, drafted Patrick Surtain, who showed out in the preseason with a pick 6. I think this team is building from the back forward, which I actually usually don't recommend. But when you're in a division with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, maybe it makes sense. You just got to add pass rushers, and they got to keep doing that, which they have also with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. So kind of an exciting team, a little different. But, of course, I have them at the bottom of the division. I won't give you my record yet just because of the quarterback. That is really my difference maker right there. Zach, how you feeling about the Denver Broncos?
You made a lot of good points. I think, yeah, they're going from the back end of the defense forward. I mean, they already had the defensive edges, secured with Von Miller and Chubb. Interior, and then their linebackers are solid. So, yeah, cornerbacks is a key thing for this division with Mahomes and Herbert out there, and Carr can sling it. I like what they've done, honestly. Like, I know you're saying they're the bottom of the barrel. I like what they did with picking up Bridgewater, Fuller, and Darby, and then picking up Patrick Surtain. Really showed, promise in the preseason. Losing Philip Lindsay, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I'm not a Melvin Gordon fan. I don't know why they're deciding to keep him around. I think the rookie that they played this weekend looks good. But I
Javonte
got them going
Williams.
9-8. I think I have them at the 9-8 mark. Yeah, that makes 17. Kind of the second to last in the West. I like Drew Lock. I like what he kind of shows. I like his swagger. I think he can be good. I think he will. I think with Bridgewater coming in, that puts an edge on him. I think he thrives under that type of pressure. But even if he doesn't start, I like Bridgewater. I think he was really good in Minnesota. He was good in Carolina-ish. So I think either quarterback they go with will give him a good shot. Just the division's too rough where they're not going to make it that high. So I put them at the 9-8, third in the West. It is what it is. I think the defense is going to be good with Fangio, but 9-8.
Fasi, what
Lock starts week 1.
Oh.
Zach, me and you are on the same page again. 9-8 for the Denver Broncos, and it's not a knock against anything that they have going on. I think that they're in a really good division, and 9-8 is a good year for the Denver Broncos. I mean, you do have question marks at the quarterback position. Zach said it. Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater are good quarterbacks, and I like them too. Whether you go with Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, who was a stud in Minnesota, he was good at the Saints and he was good at Carolina. So whoever they go with there, but running back, they have Melvin Gordon. I don't really know who they have at rookie or running back behind him, but that's whatever. Defense, though, they look really good. They got Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Kyle Fuller, and Justin Simmons are leading the way for their defensive starters as far as that goes. That's an all-star team. Justin Simmons is one of the best in the league, free safety. And you know what? Vic Fangio is going to have them ready to go. 9-8 isn't a bad record. They do need pieces, but it is a hard division, and we still got other teams to talk about in this division. But yeah, Boris, let's hear what you got for the Denver Broncos.
All right, so I have them at the bottom of the division, but I actually don't have them far off. So I had the Raiders at 9-8. I have the Broncos at 8-9. So I have them kind of competing in that very, very similar situation. Javonte Williams, I didn't want to say it on this podcast because you're both in my fantasy league, but that dude's going to be a beast, and he's probably going to take all the carries from Melvin Gordon. So let's get that out there right now.
I'm drafting in first round.
That's going to be, okay. Well, if you're going to do that, then more power to you. But Javonte Williams is going to be a beast. He's going to be their starter, I think, and he's going to take all the carries away. Broncos, I think it's just the quarterbacks. Honestly, I think the quarterback situation, I just don't trust it. I think Bridgewater's okay. I think Drew Lock is below okay. So if Lock starts, I think he'll lose that job eventually to Bridgewater, even if he gets it. I think that my reason for putting the Raiders over the Broncos is simply because Derek Carr is significantly better than Bridgewater and Drew Lock. That's just how I feel. I think he had a great year last year. It was underrated. He's above average. I have Bridgewater at average / slightly below. And then I have Drew Lock kind of off the chain. I'm not really a Drew Lock guy. So I think Teddy will get this job eventually, even if he doesn't start out with it. Defense, I like to start a defense from like the front back. I like to get pass rushers like as much as possible. I think that's the best way to win. But they have good pass rushers, and their corners should be good. I think it'll take like 7-8 weeks for this team, the defense specifically, to really get going, which is kind of how it happens with new guys, new everything. It's a new system for them, a couple of them at least, Surtain and a couple guys. So 8-9, good, not great. Bottom of the division, but a good division. So I don't have them like bottom feeling by any means. I think it'll be the Broncos, Raiders
Yeah.
going for that first or for that like third overall in division. They'll be battling, and then I think the next two teams, the Chiefs and the Chargers, will be battling for that first spot. I think it's almost two different races. Let's move on to those Chiefs, the Super Bowl losing Chiefs, to a team I think I've heard of once or twice before, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Non-biased statement.
I mean, it's not biased. It's just facts when you're saying that they lost the Super Bowl to the best team in the league. I think that's just
I say
facts.
it's non-biased, but I mean,
Yeah, it's not biased. It's just truth.
you did win it the year before. Straight.
Hey, they did win it against the 49ers, but they lost to the Buccaneers in a – honestly, if I wasn't a Bucs fan, it was a boring Super
Hey, you know
Bowl
what?
because
You don't have
they
to say
smacked
all
them
that.
down.
We're not talking about the 49ers.
Hey,
You're
I'm
right.
just throwing facts out there. It was a boring Super Bowl because the Bucs beat them down, but obviously a great team. Lost Sammy Watkins, which I actually think is going to be a bigger deal than people think. Replaced Fisher and replaced Schwartz. They traded for Orlando Brown. They got Joe Tooney from the Patriots. And I got a lot to say about this team overall because it is a great team. But let's go to Fasi first. How are you feeling about these Chiefs, and what do you have them going this year?
Chiefs are going to be one of the best teams in the league. Let's face it. When you got a $500 million guy quarterback at your or as your leader and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you can't go wrong. The guy's and he'll go down as one of the best ever. Patrick Mahomes, you got, I mean, Pro Bowlers all over him. You got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends in the league. Running back, Edwards-Helaire, he's going into year 2. He's going to be great for them. And on defense, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and the Honey Badger. I mean, you can't go wrong with this team. They're going to be great. They're coached by a Hall of Famer, Andy Reid. I got them finishing at 12-6. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but or
Either 12-5 or
yeah,
12-6 is
or
18.
12-5 makes 17.
Sorry.
Yeah, you count
Sorry.
playoffs,
12
you count preseason in that one.
12-5. Sorry, I'm still adjusting to these 17 games, man. Whatever.
No,
But
it is
yeah,
tough. It is tough to get used to the math. It is different.
Chiefs, they're going to be great. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, one of the best in the game. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. Zach, I don't know. I know you don't like to hear all this talk about the teams that you got to face all the time, but 12-5 for the back-to-back AFC Championship teams.
All right, Zach. I'm going to solo you right now. This is the solo cam. It's your favorite team. Let's go get it. Come on. Bring the fire.
Yeah, I agree with you, Fossey. 12-5 sounds right. I think their line is still recovering from losing both tackles on each side. I mean, they're gonna win more than 10 games just because of that. Number 15, 87, number 10. I mean, their whole team is stacked. They're gonna win 12 games, lose 5. And that's really it. I mean, it's the Chiefs. You can't say more than that. That's really it, to be honest. 12-5, great team. Offensive line is only my issue with them of why they won't go, 14-3 or 13-4.
He
But I
doesn't
don't know.
like talking
Patrick's been hurt
about
every year.
how good the other teams are.
No, I mean, I'm also realistic, bro. I'm not like you who's like, oh, Niners are going undefeated this year. Trey Lance is starting week 2 of preseason. Not that type of shit. It's like I'm realistic about it too. You know, as a Charger fan, we're realistic. Sorry, bleep it out. Use the duck up one.
All right.
No,
so
but I think
you got the Chiefs at 12-5.
Yep.
All right.
First or second, I won't tell you till after the next team we talk about.
Okay, so I have the Chiefs 14-3. They only lost like 2 games last year, if not 1 last year. The team is better. The team is better than last year, mostly. I think that Sammy Watkins loss was a big loss. I will say that. I think what the Bucs did when they played against the Chiefs, they doubled Tyreek Hill and they doubled Travis Kelce, and nobody else could make a play. And that was with Sammy Watkins. Now you have Mecole Hardman as your guy, and I do not trust Mecole Hardman at all. So that's an issue. I think their offensive line is significantly
We
better.
saw that drop.
Yeah, okay. On that one play, they got the drop, but that was like a heroic play that Mahomes will have to do every time because right now he has two guys to throw it to, and that's it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a beast, so that I think he'll get more passes out of the backfield, but I don't trust Hardman. I'm sorry. Like, he did nothing in that Super Bowl. He's so inconsistent. You need another guy. I think they should have drafted another guy or traded for another guy or just gotten another receiver. But that offensive line is significantly better than it was last year. Orlando Brown, Joe Tooney, they're loaded. I think they replaced two guys with great players, and then on the right side they kept their same offensive line. So they're not playing against the Bucs every week. They're going to be a good team. 14-3. They only lost, I believe, one game last year. I don't know why they would be significantly worse. I mean, 12-5 is 4 more losses than last year. I don't think they're going to be that much off. I think 14-3. Top of the division, great team. Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. It's hard to beat them. But we do have one more team to talk about. Next on the list, we have those Chargers. Those Los Angeles should be San Diego Superchargers. San Diego Chargers.
Nice.
All right. Zach, I think I'm going to start with
So I wasn't
Fasi
gonna
on
slow
this
down.
one. Fasi, go ahead, go with the.
That's fine.
No, I'm not. Wait a minute. We are going to Charger Town. Here is Zach with his hat.
Oh, I got this messed up.
Uh-oh.
That's messed up. Hold up. Let me adjust.
If you're just listening to
Send
the
you a hat.
audio, you got to check
Okay.
out the visual. You got to check out the YouTube just to see Zach in his Chargers hat.
It's nice.
There you go.
Yep. Taking out on the
How you
golf
feeling
course
about
soon.
those Chargers?
Well, they're gonna smoke this division by just one win. To be honest, they're gonna definitely take the first in the West. They're gonna have the best defense, I think, in this division with the up front and with the secondary. And most importantly, is because of that coaching staff by Brandon Staley. He's gonna change it around. We're not gonna lose games by 3 or 2 points anymore. We're gonna win them by at least 7 or 14. The offense is gonna be killer. We addressed the offensive line, which is our biggest concern. Picked up the center from Aaron Rodgers. Now we stole him over there. Took the guard from Pittsburgh. Took him from over there. And then we drafted Rashawn Slater, who again was dogging it this past weekend. Being a bully to the Rams. Receiving core, I think, is one of the best in the business. And with Keenan Allen and Mike Evans, and then Josh Palmer is going to be a sleeper. That's
Mike Evans.
He's going to take over that number 2 spot. No, we don't. He's not going to be there at the end of the year. But Josh Palmer, watch out for that guy. Watch
Mike
out
Williams.
for him. Take the
not
number
Mike
2
Evans.
spot. What did I say? Oh shoot! You got me hyped, bro. I just blanked out. Fine, 81, but Josh Palmer is gonna be the guy to take this team to the next level. But defensively, we got everybody back: Derwin James, Drew Tranquil, Joey Bosa. We got Jay Tillery is gonna be good. Mike Davis is out there. Chris Harris, Asante Samuel Jr. Man, the list goes on for what DBs we have, and interior linemen we got going. So I got Chargers taking it, number 1 in the West, 13-4. It's going to be, a dogfight in the division, but they're just going to scrape out of it with the number 1 spot overall. Cut. That's it. Go ahead, Foss, with your pondering look.
Look, let me tell you something.
Tell us something,
Zach
Fasi.
just
You don't
said
agree with
that-
me? You don't agree?
Zach just said that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be better than the Kansas City Chiefs. And I absolutely agree with that, baby. Let's
Whoa.
go.
That's my boy. There you go. Let's
Whoa.
go. Let's go.
Chiefs are winning the division in 13 wins this year with Justin Herbert leading the way. Zach said it, man. They revamped that whole offensive line. It doesn't matter who's back there. Austin Eckler, he was already a stud with no offensive line. They're coming in with the all-around greatest pro I've ever seen in Keenan Allen. They picked up Jared Cook. He's going to revise his
Snubbed on the top 100.
career there. And then you got the defense, man. Joey Bosa, one of the best in the league at the defensive end position. Asante Samuel Jr., their rookie that they just drafted, who is a steal, absolute steal in my mind. And then you got Derwin James, who is by far the best free safety in the league. Zach, I completely agree with you. I got them beating out the Kansas City Chiefs for this division. And you know what? They're going to go far in this playoff. Boris, I see you shaking your head. Guess what? It doesn't matter because you're around a bunch of bolt heads as far as I'm concerned. Right now, what you got to say?
All right. I like the Chargers.
Sheesh.
This year, I don't have them win the division. I have them at 11-5. 11-5. Good team, not great team. They lost Casey Hayward, Hunter Henry, added Jared Cook. Jared Cook had a big fumble that led to the Bucs winning the Super Bowl. Let's not forget. I feel like we've been talking about Jared Cook every year for the last few years as a decent fantasy guy, good tight end, and he's just decent. He's okay. He's fine. I did like to see Rashawn Slater. He looked pretty good. He looked actually a lot better than Penei Sewell, who gave up a big sack for the Detroit Lions. So you might have gotten the best of that. Obviously, just one game, but Rashawn Slater looks like a beast. Corey Linsley from the Packers, big pickup on the offensive line. I agree that having those guys, that offensive line is going to be much better, and Austin Eckler's a top 10 running back, no questions asked. One of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. Herbert's going to look for him constantly. Mike Williams, I believe, is already hurt, which he's always hurt. He's one of the most underperforming first-round picks in a long time. So I'm not super impressed with their wide receiver core.
That's why we're not re-signing him.
Yeah, so Keenan Allen's great. He also gets hurt a lot, but he's been good the last few years at staying healthy. Yeah, Mike Williams I'm not really banking on at all. So you need kind of that second receiver, which I don't know if they have if he's out. And then overall, just a great team. I agree with you. You were saying best safety in the league, Derwin James. The guy hasn't been healthy in 2 years.
Legit.
He's had one. He was healthy his rookie year, and he was an all-pro level safety. It's been 2 years since then, and after big injuries like that, I just want to see it first before I can just label him that based on 1 year, 2 years ago as a rookie. He has 1 year of great play. He's coming off a lot of injuries. He might struggle early on just because of how long he's been out. So wait and see. But when he was healthy, he was at that level. I just got to see it. I think 11-5 is still a great record, especially in this division. You're still second in the division, but the Chiefs, I think, are still the top dog overall, especially because of the weapons. I just think that the receivers are not as good as – they're just not that great. Keenan Allen – if Keenan Allen goes down, which he has in the past, I don't even know who you're throwing to, honestly.
I mean, we can. You have Guyton, you have Palmer. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. But the only kind of one thing too where I see them winning this is the coaching staff overall, right? Your OC is the QB coach from the Saints, right? And who did he coach? Drew Brees. So that's going to transition well over here. Jared Cook's got familiarity with that coach as well. I mean, defensively, it's Staley all the way, his scheme and everything like that. And that's kind of where I see this team really progressing is based on coaching. I think we have a way better coaching staff overall now. And then same again, O-line's probably my biggest address. I think that's something I would look forward to every year in the draft is address the interior line. And they never did. But this offseason they have. I mean, we basically have the whole right side as the Green Bay Packers from middle out with Bulaga too as well. But I think that's what's going to make them different and make them excel is, we're not going to win these. We're going to win these close games that we should have. We still need a new kicker, though, but it is what it is.
All right, and that is our division breakdown of the AFC West. We have a quick new segment. We're going to go through kind of a rapid-fire trivia session. So I'm going to pit Zach versus Fasi. We're going to get it going. We got a couple of basketball questions. We got a couple football questions. Just make a buzzing sound with your mouth if you have the answer, all right? So that's how we're going to play it today. First to 3 wins, all right? So question number 1. In 2012, Adrian Peterson ran for 2,097 rushing yards. He fell 8 yards short of the record for a season. Who has that record?
Ding, ding, ding.
Bing.
All right, Zach, first ding. Who you got?
Dickerson, Eric Dickerson.
That is correct. Eric Dickerson, 1984. He has the rushing record. That is 1 point for Zach. Fasi, you gotta get your dinger working. I'm telling you right now, you gotta work on that a little bit.
I'm pretty sure I said ding before he. Go ahead.
There might be a lag on the mic, but as far as I know, I think Zach took that one. So we're gonna go to number two. We're gonna go to number two. What NFL team has their logo on only one side of their helmet?
Ding.
Only one team has their logo on only one side.
Ding, 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 ding.
Zach, what you got?
Ding, ding, ding. Pittsburgh Steelers.
That is correct. Fossey, you need to get your head in the game. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we're going basketball.
You might beat me in basketball, but I don't know.
Now we're going basketball. There's a new Netflix documentary that just came out called The Malice in the Palace. There were two teams involved in the Malice in the Palace. What were those two teams?
Oh.
Ding, 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 ding.
Fossey, what do you got?
You got the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers.
That is correct. That is correct. Great documentary. Check it out if you haven't already. I think it's really well done and shows a lot of angles.
It was great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Was it? I haven't seen it yet.
All right, 2-1. Zach is up on Fossey right now, 2-1. Can he tie it up before the final round? Who is the shortest player to ever win an NBA dunk contest?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, Fossey, go ahead.
Nate Robinson.
Dang it.
That is incorrect.
What?
Oh. For dunk, you said the shortest to win a dunk contest?
That is, yep.
To win it? Oof. My chance to steal?
Your chance to steal. Your time's running out.
I want to say what? Muggsy, right? I don't even remember.
That is incorrect. It is not Muggsy Bogues. It is not Muggsy Bogues. Fossey, you have a final answer? Yeah. Anybody? Nobody?
I got Zach LaVine.
Okay. No.
That's all I could think of.
The answer is Spud. The answer is Spud Webb at 5'7". Spud Webb. Got to go a little bit further back in the time machine for Spud Webb. All right. Yeah. It's 2-1. Zach is up on Fossey. We have a final round. This is for all the marbles. If Fossey pulls this off, we'll give him the win. If Zach wins it, he's the double winner. So, final question. We're going to do Price is Right rules, okay? So, closest to the answer without going over. If you go over, you lose. How many home runs does Barry Bonds have in his career? All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Fossey. What do you got? All-time leading home run hitter, by the way.
Yeah, I'll go 770.
Okay.
770 is Fossey's answer. Zach, what is your answer?
It's close without going over. Say like 550.
The winner is Zach because the answer is 762. So, Fossey, you were the closest. You went over by 8 home runs. Zach, you weren't even that close. Honestly, you were way off. But because you did not go over, you are the winner. Fossey added 8 more home runs. So, congratulations, Zach. Give your speech to the camera. How are you feeling about being the winner of the first ever game winner trivia contest?
It's good. Feels good to be a winner, once in my life. Fossey was talking a lot of, ish pregame. I just showed him, I got more knowledge. So next time, buddy.
You were nowhere near.
You were nowhere close, honestly.
Hey,
but
Price is right, bro.
Fossey,
Price is right.
you should have gone a little lower. But that was a fun game. We'll have to play that another time. But I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Check out the YouTube channel, the post of the actual video. This is our first one, so check out the show notes. You'll see it in there. And once again, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.